of dishes, forks, and knives she had to wash after supper. "Anything that could be counted, I did," she said. Catherine's love of counting only grew as she got older. She likely inherited her knack for numbers from her father, Joshua Coleman, a farmer who had left school after the 6th grade. Despite his lack of formal schooling, Joshua was a math genius. He could look at a tree and instantly tell you how many boards could be carved out of its wood, just by doing the calculations in his head. Because he regretted leaving school at such a young age, Joshua always stressed the importance of education to his daughter and her 3 older siblings. Catherine's mother, Joylette, used to be a teacher, and she shared Joshua's enthusiasm for education. Whatever Catherine would achieve in life, and opportunities were few for African American girls when she was growing up in the 1920s, she knew it would begin in the classroom. When still a toddler, Catherine started following her older brother to the 2-room schoolhouse where he attended classes. At first, the teachers would not allow Catherine inside, but when they found out that she could already read, at an age when many kids were still learning to walk, they agreed to let her attend summer school. Catherine made great progress. When it was time for her to begin elementary school, she skipped 1st grade and went straight into 2nd grade, just before she turned 6 years old. Catherine continued to make a good impression on her teachers. She raised her hand often to ask questions, but every once in a while her teachers would turn away from the blackboard to see that Catherine was missing. They would find her in the classroom next door, where she was helping her older brother solve math problems. Being smart is great, but it wasn't always easy for Catherine to be the brain in the family. Every night she and her brother and 2 sisters would gather around the kitchen table to do their homework. After Catherine finished hers, she had to help her siblings finish theirs. But being smart definitely had its advantages. When Catherine was about to start the 5th grade, she was permitted to jump ahead to 6th grade. She'd now skipped 2 grade levels, putting her 1 grade above her older brother. It seemed as if nothing could stop her progress. But at the end of the school year, an uncertain future awaited. At that time, the state of West Virginia was segregated by race. White students in Catherine's town could continue on to high school, but there were no schools beyond the 6th grade for African American children like Catherine. It was expected that she would take a job as a servant or housekeeper. Catherine's father had a different idea. He knew of a school in the town of Institute, 120 miles away, where Catherine could continue her education. It would cost a lot of money, but Joshua decided to send Catherine, her mother, and her 3 older siblings to Institute at the start of the next school year. Joshua planned to move his family back home to White Sulphur Springs in time for summer break. To pay for all the travel back and forth, he took a second job as a janitor at the Greenbrier, a world-famous resort in their town. Thanks to her family's sacrifice, Catherine was able to attend class without interruption. In fact, she got such good grades that she was able to start high school when she was just 10 years old. The teachers at Catherine's new school quickly recognized her capacity for learning. At the end of a long day in the classroom, the high school principal, Sherman H. Gus, would personally walk Catherine home. Along the way, he would point out the various constellations in the sky. This was Catherine's first experience with astronomy, the branch of science that would one day change her life. When the school year ended, Catherine returned home. She took a job as a maid in the Greenbrier Resort where her father worked. For the next few summers, she cleaned rooms, washed clothes, and catered to the wealthy and famous guests who passed through town. One of these guests was an elegant Frenchwoman, a countess, who spent hours on the telephone talking to her friends in Paris. As she tidied up the countess's room, Catherine became transfixed by the sound of the French language. When the countess noticed her maid listening to her conversations, she did not get angry. Instead, she took Catherine down to the Greenbrier's kitchen and ordered the chef to teach her how to speak French like a native. Before long, Catherine had learned the basics of the language. Despite having mastered math, started learning French, and been introduced to astronomy, Catherine was far from finished with her education. At the age of 14, she graduated from high school and earned a full scholarship.